go. Prepare into live stream. Okay, we should be live. That should be it right there. Okay, Muki, just post something in the chat so I can make you admin. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We're just going to get started in a second. Just waiting for the chat moderator to pop up.
Isn't Suhaila's, doesn't he have to be on camera as well?
No, he's good. He's all good. Muki, are you in the chat?
Yes, hold on one second.
Yep, no problem. Sorry, guys, just bear with us. All right, assalamu alaikum. There we go. Okay, and add as moderator. There we go. Thank you, guys. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our, I think it's post-informal discussion, like review, that kind of type thing. We're going to answer all of the pressing questions, I hope. Keyword there is hope. I hope you guys grill me, and God willing, we will be having the Christians and Muslims will get the opportunity to call in, but more so we would like the Christians. We're a bit biased on this channel, yeah? After all, it is called Calling Christians. It just turns out that today the Christians will be calling us. So brothers, we had an amazing time this week. We had a discussion with Hassamo, Shamoun and Willy Albrecht, and it was late at night, but it was one of the more fulfilling conversations we've had in the Zoom room for some time now. And we were happy. The room was packed. I think at some point we had like 20 to 30 people. We had a blast, alhamdulillah. So let's get this ball on the road. We have Brother Mustafa with us, I think. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Mustafa. And we have Brother Faz. Brother Faz, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Wa alaikum assalam, brothers, you okay?
Yeah, alhamdulillah. I'm a bit interested. I see that you have a shelf of books on fiction there. All right, so let's see who's going to get the ball rolling. Faz, Mustafa, which one of you guys got questions?
Oh, I mean, yeah, thank you very much, Jazakallah. Just want to say assalamu alaikum to all the brothers and sisters who will be watching this live stream. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a very interesting discussion you had basically a few days ago.
Yep.
But what I wanted to ask is, how come, why wasn't the full video, why wasn't it full video uploaded?
The full video of the full discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, that's an easy one to answer. We were not planning to have a live or streamed discussion that night. Normally, the Zoom room is managed by my good brother here, Mustafa. Unfortunately, on that night, he did record, alhamdulillah, but when I recorded via the cloud. Actually, you know what? Is it possible for me to share my screen and show, let me take 1 second. Let me try to share the screen here. I might have something, where is it? So I think Mustafa sent me his copy of the recording. My recording happened like an hour and a half into it. And anyone can verify this because on the right-hand side of the Zoom room, you will see the list of participants and the red dot next to their name. I recorded sometime during the middle of it because it occurred to me, I need to have my own recording as well. I actually forgot that the other brothers were recording. Okay, how do I share my screen now? Haven't used Zoom in a while. Okay, here we go. Boom. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Is that possible?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so on the right, it's my right. What's the hour and the minutes on that count?
5 hours, 43 minutes and 35 seconds.
How long was the recording that Shamoun uploaded? Do you guys know? Was it 5 hours and 43 minutes?
No, much less than that.
I think it was like 4 hours and something, yeah? So he's missing about an hour?
Yeah,
would that be accurate?
Definitely, yeah, over an hour, definitely, yeah.
Okay. Mustafa, you're the one that recorded this. What was the file size on this?
Oh, my one was 458 megabytes, nearly 500 megabytes.
Yeah, and the recording I had was like 300 and something, if I'm not mistaken, because I used the Zoom cloud recording. And anyone can verify this. Thankfully, the Christians, I believe Jay recorded it, and you can see on the right-hand side of the screen when I started recording via the cloud. So simple. I hope I answered your question. Who asked me that question?
It was me.
One of you. Okay, Brother Faz, do you have any other questions for me?
Yeah, I mean, so basically, so you were aware of the fact that you were being recorded, yeah, by by the other participants? Were you aware?
So I could be mistaken, but I remember that when they came into the Zoom room, I don't know if it was Mustafa or me, but one of the two of us asked them, do you want permission to record? Because on Zoom, you can give permission for people to record and they could record it directly to their computers. None of them said yes. So I just generally assumed, well, there wouldn't be 20 people in here if it was just like a random discussion in the middle of the night, which it was, by the way. But I assumed that one of them was recording. And around, I think we started the discussion at, is it 9? What did we start at 9 or 8? I can't remember.
We started at 9. Yeah, 9 o'clock.
Okay, 9 o'clock. I think somewhere around 11 or 11:30, I got the link to the stream on, I think, Jay's page, Jay's YouTube page, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But we weren't streaming. We asked if they wanted it to be streamed, but I can't remember what their answer was. But we did say that we would record it. That is correct. So I think, all right, next question. Come on, guys. Grill me. You're not asking me hard. These are easy questions. I want hard questions. Come on now.
Would you like me to ask one? Faz, is that okay?
Yeah. Yep. Go right ahead.
I mean, before you get to your bit,
go ahead, Faz.
I want to ask you: was this discussion was this planned prior, or was it just instantaneously happened, just like?
Okay. So as far as I'm aware, and we have our chat moderator Mukit in the YouTube chat, so you can always if you're watching this video after the fact, you can go back to the live chat and verify. And I don't think the other side would lie about this, to be honest, but I don't know because they kind of have already. To my knowledge, a man called William Albrecht reached out to Brother Mukit, and Brother Mukit said, yeah, we have regular discussions in our Zoom room. You're welcome to join us. He said, can I bring a friend? We said, sure, no problem. He didn't tell us who the friend was. He asked what topic we were discussing that night. Normally, we leave it open-ended so people who have been to the Zoom room would know. When we share it on Twitter or on Facebook, anyone comes, we usually let the Christians choose the topic. Or if there's not a Christian, we, the Muslim, choose the topic. And when the Christians join, they just follow along. So I believe Brother Mukit sent him the link. They joined exactly at 8 or 9. 9, you said? 9? Is it 9, Mustafa?
9 o'clock, yeah.
Right, because I don't want them to say he just doesn't know. He got the time wrong, right? Because they were aggressive and like weird like that. Yep. So Mukit sent him the link. We did not know that Sam was coming, and I just sat down to have my dinner. I think I messaged Brother Mustafa. I said, Mustafa,
It was 2 a.m.
it's getting close to the time, and I'm like, okay, let me get my meal done for the night. Sit down, and like within 10 seconds, they all came in or something like that. So you're like, maybe you should come on over now because the guests have already arrived. I said, okay, no problem. Sat down, put my tiny, tiny bowl of food to the right, and then we had to have an informal discussion. So no, I did not know that Sam was coming. I did not know that he wanted to discuss Genesis chapter 18. In fact, as William himself said in the recording, no, Sam was told, is Jesus God? And not according to the New Testament. We left it open on where Jesus could be God from. So I don't know if they lied about that. I'm not sure. But again, they are missionaries. Missionaries just do missionary things. Anyone else have questions?
Just one final question, Brother Rijaz, if you don't mind me asking.
Sure. I feel like I'm on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Do I get a prize for these questions?
How come you've only put 49 minutes of your version on there then? Because it's like a 5-hour 5-hour video. Why
5 hours 43 minutes. Yes.
Okay, 5 hours 43 minutes. Why did you put only 49 minutes of it?
So that's a really, really easy question to answer. And by the way, how do you know it was 49 minutes? Did you watch it? No, but you were there. You were there for the recording. Sorry.
I was there for the recording, yeah. And I watched the 49 minutes as well.
So normally, in that discussion at least, I got the half when, like, right before we finished the Genesis 18 topic. At that time, we were bickering about the how we were going to manage, because we didn't had all of us all together had decided, Christians and Muslims, we were cross-talking too much, if you guys remember. And we had people like butting in. I know that William was being like trying to interrupt me a few times. So we were trying to like caution, like, all right, guys, if you want to have a fruitful discussion, you can't behave like a bunch of thugs and hooligans. Unfortunately, William didn't take that advice. But the point is, so he kept butting in. And primarily, Sam said, or Hassamo to get his name right, he said he would tackle me on the New Testament, and that Willy will tackle me on the church fathers. And so the discussion was, is Jesus God? The only church father I mentioned was Origen, and Willy, by his admission, said he didn't respond to that because he didn't consider it to be on topic. So I uploaded the discussion primarily between Sam and I. I also, because we did not know that they wanted it to be streamed and recorded, all I had were these headphones on, not the big one with the mic here next to me. I'm on camera as well now because why? This was planned in advance. I said, guys, let's jump on the stream. So I put my camera here, I put my mic here, and I said, as we go on the stream, people have to see me as we normally do. So if you see me on like EF Tower, all right, I know in 10 minutes I got to be on stream. I put the camera on and the mic on. Usually it's like a minute right before, but I'm trying to make myself seem like I'm a professional, so I do 10 minutes before. Yeah, and so because I had these headphones on, I think a lot of people had complained to me, we didn't hear a damn word that you said. And I'm like, well, yeah, I didn't use the good mic. So what I did was I put up the parts between me and Sam, and I increased the volume on my audio so you can hear me. I added a denoise because this mic has the noise filtering, sound canceling, something like that. This one is just a cheap peer that comes with the phone. And I think that was about it. Yeah, and I put me, Sam, everything that Sam said to me and everything I said to Sam included. So if people wanted a debate between me and Sam, that would be the closest thing to it. And here's the challenge I put out, because I noticed a lot of the missionaries, and I need to be honest here, they've written some very nasty comments like about, I don't want to mention the things that they have said. Obviously, we are good and godly people. And I know that, you know, Hassamo and William encourage people to use this kind of language, abusive, hateful, intolerant language, because that's the kind of Christianity that they come from, but they don't represent the body of Christianity, who are beautiful, good people. So I uploaded it and it seemed to go fine. In fact, everyone who watched it, here's the challenge. If you watch the 4-hour version, not the 5-hour 43, because they didn't upload that one, I wonder why, the 49-minute one, compare it with that and tell me what statement Sam said to me, which I left out. And guess what? I'll delete my channel. That is the challenge. Yeah. So listen, listen, and I'll delete my channel if you could find for me a statement that Sam made on Is Jesus God in the Is Jesus God section of the recording, and show me what I left out that Sam said to me and what I said to Sam. Good. Okay. Was that your? Did I answer the question? I have no idea, to be honest.
Yes, thank you very much.
Actually, I'm lying. I didn't answer all of the question. Hold on. Repeat the question to me one more time.
Why was your version only 49 minutes long?
The other thing was, yes. Yeah. So this is funny, right? Because a number of years ago on Pal Talk, I actually had a discussion with Sam on his Pal Talk room. And one of his minions, Millie Fiore, I made an agreement with Sam, and that was in the recording, that he would send me the recording of that discussion after the discussion had finished. So I think he had muted me or booted me from the room. And eventually I tried to follow up with him because I saw it go up on YouTube, but it was edited. It had somewhere between, that was only like a 1 hour, 15-minute discussion, and about 30 to 35 minutes was cut out of it. 30 to 35 minutes, I think, were cut out of it, because I remember the first 20 minutes, him like, so today we call it muting, but on Pal Talk you call it dotting, because you got the red dot where they stopped you from speaking. And he said, well, that was irrelevant to discussion. So all the abuse, the insults, the threats, that was irrelevant. And now he can't remember when he made that agreement with me. Apparently, he's the only person that can't remember what he did. So the Christians that come here and say, well, wait a second, okay, why would you dare edit it? Well, hold on. When Sam did it, where were you people? I had one Christian say to me, do you think that your subscribers, aren't you treating them as if something is wrong with them if you don't upload the entire thing? I'll tell you this right now. Let me reverse the question. Was Sam not treating you all like intellectual peasants for deleting my statements from my discussion on one topic, and then most of his statements where they were insults towards me? So the point is, we have to have equal scales here. Sam is not a person with equal scales. I mean, the court documents about stealing donations, I mean, that should tell you equal scales ain't important to him. Now, However, Brother Mustafa, Brother Faz, did I not upload the unedited discussion on Is Jesus God from the copy that I had? That's what I did. That's what I did. So I uploaded what I had, and I think Brother Mustafa, inshallah, will try to send me the 5 hour 43 minutes one. So far, Sam and Hassamo, sorry, his real name, Willy, the chubby guy, Albrecht, he hasn't reached out to me to ask me for the 5 hour 43 minute one as well. Neither has Jay, the guy that initially uploaded it. Why are the Christians happy with taking out an hour and a half, but they're upset with me when I include every single statement that Sam and I exchanged? I don't understand what the internal logic is there. What am I meant to do? So I think who asked me that question?
It was me.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have another question, Brother Faz?
No, that's what I wanted to ask.
Okay,
basically.
alhamdulillah. What's this one's name? Suhaila, Mustafa, Muki,
yes.
one of you?
I
I
was
was going to ask. Go ahead, Mohammed.
So they did record it, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
they
So
did.
how did you know that they recorded it?
Well, I assumed the thing is, it's pretty simple. You don't show up with 20 people to see a discussion live and not record it. It would be too suspicious. And because I know Sam, it's okay. You know what? I asked them if they wanted me to allow them to record it via Zoom, and they said no. So obviously they've already recorded at that point. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And about 11:30, I got the what do you call it? The link. And I'm like, okay, fine, not a problem. Alhamdulillah, at least it's I know now for certain it is from the very start being streamed and recorded. Alhamdulillah. Okay, guys, just a quick message. We are not like the missionaries, so we do not put insulting comments in the chat. Please do not. Please do not put insulting comments in the chat towards Hassamo or Willy. We want to be respectful. Remember something that I've been taught by my teachers: the missionaries are not our teachers. So their bad behavior, we should not replicate just because they treat us poorly, right? But we need to have equal scales here. And, I actually, in an email, I noticed that William on Facebook said that Ijaz, he was silent. He didn't get back to me via my email. Lies. Why? Because I exchanged like 7 emails with him the previous day. So apparently he forgot about that. But however, here's the problem. He posted that Facebook post after the emails were already sent. In fact, he sent me an email saying, don't talk down to me, because I asked him to be respectful, because he was insulting me even in the emails. He was so triggered by the fact I had debunked and humiliated him. I actually caught him out with his tiny manuscript with 6 passages referencing the 65 chapters of Justin Martyr. Can you imagine? He's telling me he has a manuscript of Justin Martyr from the 3rd century with I think it's like 60 something chapters of his what's that word called again? Dialogue with Trifle.
Yeah.
There's a problem here. It's only 6 lines. How do you get 65 chapters or the 6 lines? Was it written on an electron microscope or something? These people are majnoon at some point. Who else has a question? Mustafa, you got a question?
He does. Why did you call Sam Hassamo?
Why are you laughing when you say that? Is that funny? Is that funny to you?
I mean, yeah, but I know him as Shamoun. Why do you call him Hassamo?
Okay, so that's his real name, right? And I thought, well, why would if I call him by his nickname, he already knows that I know his real name. If I call him by the nickname, would he not take offense and say, look, Ijaz is mocking my name or something like that? Because whether you do or you do not, they'll still find a reason to complain. So I was trying to be pleasant. And when I called him Hassamo, he got triggered. In fact, on Twitter, the video where he got triggered has over 1,000 views. So one of my Twitter posts gets more views than most of his videos on his YouTube page. And somehow I'm the one hiding. I don't understand. But
I don't understand why he got offended when you
well,
called him
there's a
Hassamo.
reason for it, Brother Mustafa. Because it's already public knowledge, so it shouldn't be bad if I say it. So I'm gonna tread carefully here, right? So he had a court case or 2, and some documents from a legal service, I think, was shared online. They are accurate documents, and I think he said to someone, Hassamo said to someone, Ijaz is trying to dox me. Dox means like reveal who you actually are. Well, I did not think that would have been an issue because the name is already publicly known. It's everywhere. His name is Hassamo Shamoun, Hassamo. First name Shamoun, Shamoun. And if anyone wants, on my Twitter page, I have the both of the documents. Because you know what? Unfortunately, the people on his page need to know what he does with their donation money.
So what does
He
he
needs
do?
to know. He misappropriates it. And you know what? Here's the challenge, Hassamo, right? Big boy, tough guy who can shout and scream at me. But when I ask him a question, I don't want to talk about that. Right, Samo, Hassamo, Shamo, whatever your name is, who cares at this point? What was my train of thought? I lost it. What was it again?
About his donation, what he's doing with the
Oh,
donation.
yeah. So here's the challenge, right? Anyone who has ever donated money to Calling Christians, you can reach out to me and you can ask, Brother Ijaz, where did that money go? And you'll get an answer, you'll get a receipt. In fact, no one has ever asked, but I've offered it up and I've sent the documents, like, here's this receipt, here's that receipt. People reach out to me and say, you didn't have to do that, we trust you. And I say to them, listen, other people could misuse funds, and I don't want that sticker on my name, that bad sticker on my name. Hassamo has no problem with it. I think last night on Zoom, we put out a post on Twitter inviting people for another night of informal discussions, open to anyone. I noticed that Hassamo and William didn't show up then. In fact, they were even invited and they didn't show up. So I'm not sure what they're missing out on. Our friend in the, what's his name, Brother Mukit in the chat can verify that. We told them we would be on Zoom tonight. We, in fact, told them that we would be on Zoom this weekend, and they sent a message saying they would not be able to make it. So, brothers, if I had something to hide, why would I invite them for another discussion? And not just last night, but at any point over the weekend, right? Even after the dirty emails that William sent me, just like Christ Jesus, I'm willing to forgive him. William actually offended me by something he said. I said, William, I forgive you for screaming at me during the discussion. I understand, people can get passionate about what they believe in. And he said to me, don't be a child and pretend that you're forgiven me. And I said to him, well, you know what? So I wanted to say to him, well, isn't that the child of God came upon the earth and went around Judea forgiving people, right? Why would you consider forgiving someone of something, even if you don't feel justified in that forgiveness, something wrong? It is, there's a word that we use, it's called culture of care. So, they say Canadians apologize for everything. And Mustafa would know, literally, I would insult him 1 minute about his football club because they kind of suck. And then I'd apologize. Sorry, Mustafa, that's the way it works. Because guys, alhamdulillah, the haqq is on our side. We have nothing to hide. Brother Mukit in the chat, did we not, I can ask the two brothers here. Brother Mustafa, did we not have your Zoom session last night?
Yes.
Brother Suhila, did we not have a Zoom session last night?
Yes, we had.
Didn't we put it out on Facebook? We put it out on Twitter. If you're here in the chat now, most of you would have been here last night. And we had a story of a brother saying that one day, Sam invited him to his, I think it was a Paltalk room or Skype call or something like that, right? And Sam had agreed to engage with him. And on that same session, Sam was asking for donations for a laptop. And then the brother said Sam just blocked him, and that was the end of it. After he got a donation or two, he blocked him, and that was it.
Disgusting.
So, it would be one thing if I, as a Muslim, were making those claims, but we don't know the individual. He came in, right? He came in and he gave his testimony about how badly he had been treated by Hassamo, that kind of thing. And we have to be above board, right? Mustafa, have I ever stolen money from you?
Never, of course.
Faz, have I ever told you to donate for my dawah and, I went out on a nightclub round or something like that, right? Never. Is that right, Brother Faz? Because you're kind of silent. Faz has gone silent. That means one of two things. He's either died or he thinks I'm lying. I'm not sure. So I hope he answers the question when he comes back.
Brother Ijaz, he deceived the brother by telling him he's going to have a discussion with him and used him to gain donations and then locked him off.
Pretty much, yeah. But you know what? I want to point out here as well that Sam was also involved in another donation scheme when ABN TV was taking money from what he would consider heretical Christian preacher. And he said he quit ABN. Sam, don't make me spoil why you actually had to leave. Yeah, right, Samo? Right, you forget that I have that email chain with David Wood and the owner of the channel. I mean, there are things I can say which I know you specifically don't want me to say, Hassamo. All right, who had the question? Was it you, Brother Mustafa? Did you ask that question? I hope I answered it.
Yes, I did.
Right,
Yeah. I've got actually quite a few questions, but I'll be fast because I know
Okay.
other brothers want to get involved. See, on Genesis 18, did Sam answer any of your questions?
No. So this is a tactic that he does with everyone. He says, I Hassamo, I'm given the plain reading of the text. But everyone knows that if you study presuppositionalism, everyone, okay. Sorry, I'm just looking at the I'm looking at the YouTube chat, and someone said, "Did Ijaz just say he wanted donations to go to a nightclub?" I'm saying no. I'm saying I've never taken a donation and gone to a nightclub with it. Right? That's the joke, right? It's a joke, right? What was I answering? Oh, Genesis 18, right? So Sam has this weird tactic where he says, I'm using the plain reading of the text, but in presuppositionalism, you have okay. The way this works is everyone has worldviews. So when you read something or you watch a movie or you watch a video, something along those lines, you interpret it according to your worldview. So for example, if I said Hassamo Shamoun was a 666, a Christian would say, I recognize that, sign of the devil, right? But you say that to a Muslim and they might be like, 666 is three numbers, right? You are informed by your worldview. So I think one of the Jewish people that Hassamo abused, Yossi actually pointed this out. In fact, I think he did a live stream where he followed up and reviewed our discussion. And he actually points out, Sam did the same thing to me. Hassamo did the same thing. He pretended as if he had a plain reading and none of the other people understood it. For example, we have Sister Rashida. He was here in the chat. She was one of the people that watched the 4-hour video. Sister Rashida, please tell me if I told you not to watch that video, and please write the answer in the chat. In fact, I asked you as you were watching it, hey, what did you think about it? So if I was trying to hide something, why would I be asking people publicly on Twitter, did you watch it? What did you think? What is your feedback? And she gave a nice Twitter thread where she was like, Ijaz asked Sam, well, how did you arrive at that conclusion? What is your hermeneutic? How are you trying to understand this passage? So for example, he had a hyperliteralist view, right? And so I have to ask, well, okay, is it not a Hebrew book? Is it not a book written by the Jews themselves? Yes, it is. Okay. The Jews, when they wrote it, and they copied it and they've studied it, they've transmitted it, what were the ideas that they had within them as they wrote these texts and taught them? Obviously, one of those ideas is the idea of agency, that not everything in the text needs to be taken literally. And here's an easy example. In Genesis chapter 6, verse 6, when God grieved in his heart. God grieved in his heart. Sam is going to come and say, well, by context, God can't grieve in his heart because he's actually a spirit, right? So that's metaphorical. But for me to say that Yahweh appearing is either a vision or metaphorical, he takes umbrage and offense to that, and I'm clearly not reading the text as it is. So, these bad arguments and bad understanding of reading the Hebrew Testament is really not just embarrassing from, what he has done, but I think that the Jews themselves cringe when they see someone butchering the scripture in this way. Just to remind you, Christians did not write the Old Testament. The Jews did. So, Sam, you might want to do better at it. Okay, so Sister Rashida, hold on. Sister Rashida has said something. She said, so let me read her message. This is a sister that watched it on. So she told me she watched a 4-hour video, right? And I did not tell her to stop. Here's what she says. Ijaz, you did ask, and I shouldn't have watched it. All you did was cut the yelling and childish behavior out. Was a waste of time. So she compared the two. She watched it and she said, all he did was yell at me. Right? This sister literally put I think it's like a 4-tweet thread of what she saw happening in that 4-hour video. And I actually felt bad for her because, no one needs to hear that rubbish for 4 hours, do they? Sam speaking, that is, Hassamo and Willy. Mustafa or Suhaila, you guys got a question for
I
me?
just wanted to add to this, brother. So for the first hour, there's a lot of bickering, over talking, speaking over each other. William, Sam, and Sam wanted to move on to the next discussion. It's like he was adamant. He just wants to move on to is Jesus God? Now, if you were willing,
Hold on. Quick question. Did I say to him, okay, I think I said this, but did I say to him, stop, I'm not moving on now.
until you,
Yeah, let me continue because this is how I
yeah.
usually conduct my Zoom meetings. I don't want you to just pick up and run off as we're discussing the topic. We discuss it step by step. We want to understand what the text actually says, right?
Yes.
He was the one in that 4-hour recording saying, can we just move on? Let's just get, because you're just asking the same question over and over again. You're having the same discussion over and over again. And multiple times he tried to move the other to is Jesus God? So here is the question, right? In that first hour, how much of Genesis 18 did we discuss? In the second hour, how much of Genesis 18 did we discuss? And according to Sam's own testimony, which he streamed 1 hour after that discussion, quote unquote, within the first 5 minutes, he says, this is why I don't do debates. But remind me to mention what this word debate is propaganda from him, by the way. He himself admitted this is not what he wanted. So I said, well, okay, fine. But I was happy with it. That is why I was happy to see the stream. That's why I sent people it on Twitter. That's why I shared it on Facebook. But apparently, these guys are, these are probably the same people that think the 5G towers cause coronavirus.
So Ijaz, if you're willing to discuss is Jesus God, why did you want Sam to qualify his use of the New Testament first?
Can you repeat the question? I don't understand.
So if you're willing to discuss with Jesus, with Sam,
Jesus, Sam is
why
Jesus.
did you
Now
want
what's
to
going on?
qualify? Yeah,
Trust me, Jesus would never be such a hateful, deceptive, repugnant individual. I mean, as far as I know, Jesus did not steal donation money or abuse people. Mustafa.
I mean, you wanted him to qualify his use of the New Testament, right? You wanted him to. Yeah, why? I mean, what was the reason behind it? He's adamant. He wants to speak of Jesus is God or divine, so and so, and you're saying, wait a second, what qualifies? Why would you want to?
Well, at least from sorry, so I'm getting a little bit confused because I have the YouTube page open because I wanted to read the comments as we're going along.
Go ahead.
Right. What was I going to say? One more time. Sorry. Oh yeah, qualify his use of the New Testament. Right. Good.
Yeah.
So in this case, when you have an argument, so for example, I mean, okay, if I quoted Surah 5 verse 110 in the Quran, where Jesus says he did not tell people to take him as a god, right? Would a Christian then say to me, oh, Khalas, I'm done, I'm going to make a Muslim now, la ilaha illallah? No, they're going to say, well, how do you know that Jesus actually said that? How do you know that your test that scripture, that body of literature can be trusted, right? That's what a Christian would ask. So this is a question of first principles. It's called the argument from first principle, which is where you establish the foundation first rather than assume or presuppose, then argue from that presupposition, right? So every claim, I think I even said this in the discussion, every claim, actually I think I did, every claim needs to be qualified under its own merits. So if he comes and he says to me, you see, Jesus says this, Jesus says that in the New Testament, obviously I have to ask, well, how do you know he said that? How can I trust this source to accurately tell me what Jesus said? And in fact, William failed horribly because when I quoted from Origin, he said the spiritual truth, a church father said, the spiritual truth, that is the message of the gospel, is preserved in material falsehood. Right? That the gospel say one thing when it really means another. It says something happened here when it really happened there. So I'm pointing out, guess what? That even the church fathers say don't trust that book because it doesn't have an accurate testimony. And William, that was his one job, just correct me. Didn't William say, Willy boy? He said that he would speak to me on the church fathers, right? He got so tripped up with humiliating him on Justin Martyr, he literally had to run off. literally.
Mhm.
Where's that missing 1 hour and was it 43 something minutes?
Mhm.
Did that answer the question, brother Mustafa?
That did. That's what I just wanted to. I know brothers want to ask, but I want to ask you a few more questions on this because this is
Sure.
crucial. I ask you this.
Mhm.
Again, I want to get back to William now. I want to go back to William.
Willy boy, yeah.
Willy, yeah, Free Willy. What did you think about Willy's comments during the informal discussion?
What do you mean his
In the informal
comments?
discussion, his comments. I mean, was he? I mean, like I said, he was obviously bickering and he was over talking and he was speaking behalf of Sam or Hassamo, and he was being more aggressive towards you. I mean, I
Well,
just saw it.
people that saw the 4 hour discussion actually asked me why I allowed that person to scream at me, and I said, well, okay. I asked a reverse question. I said, did you hear me screaming at them? They're like, no. In fact, we could barely hear. Actually, can you guys hear me clearly now? Right. I have a
Yeah.
naturally low voice, guys. I'm not a screamer. I'm not Hassamo or Willy. But in one of his emails, Willy says to me he's naturally loud, right? Right. But in his discussion with Dr. Ali, he was timid and quiet and shy
It was a
and
weasel. It
polite.
was a
Right.
weasel.
His tail was tucked between his legs, right?
Exactly.
When he discussed with Bat Ehrman and Bat Ehrman humiliated him on the church fathers,
Humiliating
I
him,
used almost the exact same arguments, and Willie now says, "Oh, I answered Ijaz," but Bat Ehrman was on that podcast and he humiliated you. There was something you asked me. Yeah, his comments. So one brother who watched the stream actually messaged me and he said, "Why did you allow me to scream at you?" And I said, "Hold on." People like this, I think it's Proverbs 27:11, right? The fool lets what's the word? He vents his rage, but the wise person keeps them calm, right? So I'm like, well, because I went to a Catholic school, right? I don't know if Willie ever did that, but he seems to have very little education, to be quite honest. He didn't understand what a critical text was, or he didn't know that that a tiny piece of papyri is not going to have 65 chapters in it. Yeah, Willie? Yeah. What was I going to say? What was the question? I lost my train of thought. What did you ask
Well,
me?
the question was regarding his informal
Comments, right?
discussion.
Sorry, losing track of time. So yes, guys, in the comments, we will bring you on. So we're prioritizing Christians, God willing. So give us a few more minutes. Let me answer all the questions from the team, and then I will jump. And I've already taken a few questions from the chat, but we will continue to take questions, God willing, very shortly.
Couple of more Ijaz quickly, if I ask you,
Okay.
is that all right?
Yes. Sure.
So is this comment accurate? You, Ijaz, say Justin manuscripts are corrupt, where he speaks of the angel of the Lord. William and Sam said, let's read the Greek and see if it's missing from any manuscripts.
This is from Jay's video. It's one of the top comments. And no, in fact, here's the challenge I put out to the Christians who watched that discussion and the Muslims. So let me just turn this down a little bit. Quote from me where I said that passage is corrupted. In fact, I didn't say that. What I actually said was, what is the earliest manuscript that you have? And let us look and see if there are any variants, right? That's what I know I said. And then Willie says to me, he has it in the Greek in front of him. And I was confused because that doesn't answer my question. But I asked you for the earliest manuscript, not what language it is in. But Willie, I don't think he knows English very well, or I could be wrong, because whenever I would ask him a question about A, he would tell me Z. So I'm not sure if it's like an intellectual deficiency, or if it's like he was so enraged at me embarrassing him that he had to fudge it. It's a possibility. After all, he's a missionary, and missionaries mission. That's what they do.
So why did they want you to read from the Greek of the Proverbs?
That was strange. So here's the thing. We are doing 4-minute timed responses, right? And Willie comes up, hey, can you read a full chapter of Proverbs for me? And I'm like, dude, it's 11 a.m., 11 p.m., 12 a.m. Don't distract from the topic we were discussing. Is Jesus God? Right? Why should I have to read an entire chapter of Proverbs? I remember. I think he had said Ijaz read Greek earlier in the discussion, and he said
yes,
Ijaz got the Greek
I'll
wrong.
tell you. They said you read earlier and you misquoted the Greek of the Old Testament. And you corrected him. It was Exodus 3:14 from the
14.
Septuagint Greek
Yes.
that you read. Igama Emi or Ego Emi, you know the better way
Yeah,
to
Ego
pronounce
Aimi
it.
Ho On. I read it
Yeah.
to him, and I think in a message that he sent to the chat moderator, Brother Mukid, he actually said, yeah, there was no problem when Ija said that. And in fact, in that forward discussion, he actually says, no, Ija's read that one correctly, but anyone can read that, right?
Oh,
But the
gosh.
thing is, I wasn't reading anything. In fact, it was only after the Genesis 18 chat, because I told Sam at the very start, I don't care about the Old Testament, I don't study it. So I want to get to the main meat, which is the topic we messaged Willy, which was, is Jesus God? It's funny though that Willy had to correct Sam because Sam said the topic was, is Jesus God according to the New Testament? And then Willy had to confess because he couldn't lie because we had the messages. He had to correct Sam publicly because Sam is a bit deceptive and let him know, well, no, the topic is Jesus God. We didn't limit it to the New Testament. In any case, when I read, when I read from my memory, Exodus 3:14, that was from my memory because that night I sat down with my bowl of food, and it was only like halfway through the is Jesus God topic that I actually start writing down what Sam had mentioned, right? Because I realized, well, hold on, I forgot that this was most likely being recorded. Let me try to be a little bit. Let me try to write down what he said, and there's actually a point where you can hear in the discussion where I turn and I say, actually, hold on, didn't you say? And at that moment, you will know I'd started to write down what he was saying.
Because he was moving, he was bouncing, he was going all over the place, and you need to keep track of him.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because the topic was, is Jesus God? And he wanted to discuss, doesn't the Quran validate the Bible? In fact, in that same discussion, he says, we should discuss in the future, not now, but in the future, does the Quran approve of the Bible? And I think I had said yes, and I said sure, something along those lines.
You did. Just before
one sec. There's an important question here in the chat. Sentinel Apologetics asks, what was the specific claim you made about the patristic source and the angel of the Lord? I only had one question. I asked, what was his name, Willy, what was the earliest manuscript? Because on the writings of the church fathers, I know that Cyril C.H. Richardson, in fact, actually sent this quote and the link to it to Willy himself during the discussion via email. Yeah. So apparently I'm hiding but I sent him email with the quote and the source, which points out that the writings of the church fathers, particular to Justin Martyr, have had conjectural emendations. Conjecture means without evidence, within of the text. And so that's what we have today. And so I was just simply pointing that out. And Willy got upset. In fact, he didn't want to, in fact, when I brought that up, he wanted to read from the Greek. And when I asked him what was the earliest manuscript from which you were quoting from, he gave me one from the 3rd century that only had 6 lines on it. 6 lines, so right? And then one sec, right? When I pressed him, okay, right, so 6 lines, you're not going to have like 50, 60 chapters on it. What is the manuscript that you're reading from, right? He says, all the editor says is that it's the oldest and the best. Well, that doesn't tell me the manuscript, genius. So I actually had to pause. So I actually had to use my time within the 4-minute segment. I had to check my notes. I went to a book which I quoted from him by a Dominican friar, which I mean a Catholic studied individual who is within the ranks of the church. And he actually mentions that the best manuscript is a 16th century manuscript from which the entirety of Justin Martyr's work depends on. And you know what Willy's response to that was?
It was raged him. It raged him.
Yeah, he actually began to insult me and berate me as missionaries do. Like, it's okay, I accept. Just as Christ would be abused for speaking the truth, I have to speak the truth as well. And as a Muslim, I bear that cross myself. I will have to take their insults, and I will gladly accept their insults because it's the good Muslims at home. I don't want you to be the target of their insults, their abuse, their filthy threats. I mean, I only wish that we could have done something for the person in that court case that Sam lost.
He does. I just want
one
you to
sec,
clarify.
there's another thing. He says, what was Cyril Richardson's point? You didn't make the connection clear for me in regards to which biblical verse. So I had no point in regards to the angel of the Lord in the biblical verse. In fact, that was a conjecture by Hassamo himself. In fact, in that discussion, Sam said to me, Mustafa, do you remember this? He
Yeah,
said
that's
to
what I was
me,
going to ask you, Ijaz. Tekun Seferin, regarding
yeah,
that
no,
was replaced.
that's it. No, that's it. So at some point, he says to me, Ijaz, you said the rabbis changed Abraham and the Lord, and it was originally angel of the Lord, right? And I told him I actually never said that. And when I meant to ask you, he interrupted me, right? So the next video I publish will be with with my statement and the words transcribed on the screen with the timestamp. And then his like 8 or 9 times where he would get enraged, like the coward that he is, screaming and shouting. He can do that to women, but I'm a man. Don't do that to me. Unfortunately, the woman that you did that to, court case. So when that happened, we told him multiple times, Ijaz never said that. He's like, no, you did. And then Willy, the cheerleader, right, the chubby cheerleader, jumps in. Ijaz did say that, Willy, the cheerleader. And I went back to the recording. Guess what, guys? I didn't say that, right? And
Really?
the thing is, will the Christians not call him out on his deceptive behavior? And I don't see them doing that. You know why? Because they know if they call him out, he will block them, he will ban them, he will insult them. I mean, how many Christians have had to learn from his abuse? For almost a year or 2 years, every day he would post about Dr. James White. Insult him, call him an apostate, call him a traitor, denigrate him in every which way possible. Even the gentleman that came into our room last night, he said that he had insulted him about his like family or something as well, right? And so it's just shameless. In fact, here's what, on the 49-minute video on the My Calling Christians page, YouTube page, you will see a comment where someone else gives their own testimony about the abuse and insults that they suffer under that individual. Okay, Sentinel Apologetics, I got to scroll up. I just saw a question. He said, yes, what biblical reference was this in light of Justin Martyr? I actually, I think it's, okay, I don't think I understand the question, but we were discussing Genesis 18. I don't know if they had a particular verse in mind. They didn't seem to reference it, to be honest. And in fact, when Justin Martyr discusses the angel of the Lord in a debate that I had, an actual professional debate, something that Sam can't have, or William for that matter. I actually had a couple of slides, and our good friend Alex was there as well.
Yeah.
And my good friend Louis Dizon, who appears on Reason and Theology often, actually. I think he was there on that day. I think he was on my friend Stephen Atkins, who I also had a professional debate with, right? So you see, people actually want to debate me like fairly, get an idea, Hassamo.
With respect.
And in that slide, Justin Martyr, I think it's chapter 53 or 56, he actually says that he believes in another God. He doesn't say another person in the Godhead, but rather another God. That's why in the discussion I asked Sam, I think I asked Willy, one of the two of them, I asked, how many Yahwehs can there be? How many gods do you as a Christian believe in? It's like, but apparently they didn't make the connection because neither of them, even with, Willy's Greek in front of him, he couldn't see that passage. The same paragraph has it. But apparently, he was so enraged and, of course, humiliated. He couldn't answer the question. If he had it in front of him, he could have read it to me. This is what Justin Martyr says. But he didn't want to read it. You know why? Because then that would bring up that Justin Martyr had another God. Yep. Questions, guys. Actually, do you have any more questions? Because it's almost time.
Just the one more thing, Ijaz. So the clarification is that when Shamoun said regarding the Tekun Seferin, angel of the Lord,
yes,
that's not correct. You didn't say that.
I did not say that. You were there. Did I say that, brother Mustafa?
I was there. I'm witness. I'm just saying. I want you this
clarification.
clarification.
And it's all recording. So we want the Christians, if you go watch that 4-hour video again, come back and post the timestamp where I said the rabbis of the Tikkun Soferim, when they changed it from angel of the Lord to Lord. Post it and I will delete my channel.
So I'll ask my question. Faz, Muhammad, please go ahead.
Just one question, Ijaz. Sam said in regards to
Mhm.
Abraham and Lot bowing down. Now, he was saying that this was a tradition at that time where when the guests would arrive, they would bow down as a sign of respect. So the word there in the Greek is, I believe, is proskuneo as well, isn't it?
It's a form of proskuneo. Let me just double check as we're on the stream, because you know what, this is what we like to do. I take my time, I look at the sources, and I try to validate and verify. Right? We're not the kind of people that, you know,
You don't
we don't
scream
have a
and shout.
fly-by-night operation here. I think, right?
You didn't scream and shout at Faz for asking you a question.
What?
You didn't scream and shout at Faz
Yeah,
for asking
I don't need to scream and shout because, alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim. I don't need to behave like a thug. Okay, so the Apostolic Study Bible, it says here prosekunusen. Yeah, prosekunusen. So it means, so it's the same root word proskuneo, which means obeisance, sign of respect. The same word used for worship in the New Testament when it comes to Jesus. That's actually a good question you asked. Why did no one point this out during the discussion?
So the question then, if this is like way of a traditional way of greeting your guests, and then so when the disciples, they themselves were bowing
Showing
down,
respect to Jesus.
so that must have been a form of showing respect, not in a sense of worshiping him like as if he was God. Would you agree with that?
But here's the thing though, Sam said, Hassamo and Willy both argued that that was just a sign of respect. So they need to be consistent. If the context is that this is a tradition of a sign of respect, then how can they pervert this sign of respect into worship? In fact, this is why the Quran says that they play with scripture, tahrif. They move words from their places. This is evidence of that. We don't need to make things up. We see, guys, we do things live on air. Like here's what I imagine is going to happen now. When I read and I mistook the eta for something else, right? He's going to say, look, he just stuttered when he read it. He stuttered when he read it. Therefore, he cannot read it. Well, hold on, but did I not read it? Apparently, you're not allowed to make mistakes when you read. I remember when James White, in one of his debates, he was reading from the Greek. Almost every time he reads, he slips up once or twice and he self-corrects and he moves on. In fact, most of us, when we read, we slip up and then we correct ourselves. In fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I slipped up when I was reading Bilati here Ahsan. I'm like Bilati, and I stuttered and then I corrected myself. It's what I do, right? But apparently to what's his name, Willy Boy, he just can't even speak English. See, this is like the racist mindset that these people have. That because I have an accent, it means I can't speak English. You know, fine. You know what? Fine. I guess my first language here doesn't really matter, does it? My accent determines what language I can speak. Any more questions, guys?
Yeah. So just one final thing. So when I was just reading Acts chapter 10, verse number 24. When Peter went to see Cornelius, and during that narratives, you find that Cornelius actually bowed down and worshipped Peter, and the same word is proskuneo there as well. So then, like I said, it needs to be consistent in a sense where you can't just. What criteria then would you say that they are using when the word is the same? I know they may say it's context, but if someone is worshipping Peter, then they need to be consistent. Was Peter God in the eyes of Cornelius? So how are they making that differentiation between worshipping, i.e. worshipping a God, and paying homage or being respectful using the same word?
Well, one of the funny problems here is I imagine if I ask Hassamo what his exegetical method is, he will say to me, Ijaz, I just have the plain reading of the text. He's never going to explain that inconsistency. And that's the shame, right? So guys, did we not invite Willy to Sunday? We invited both of them for Sunday. They said they could make it. I don't know what they were doing. What's going on here? But our Zoom room is opened almost every night. We start at 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, like 10 p.m. UK time. We go like an hour, 2 hour. We don't do it every night, but most nights we chit chat. It's informal. We do not usually record it. This is just like chit chat. We ask questions. We're not on camera. We share some jokes. We talk about like current events, that kind of thing, and we just have fun. And please watch the debate, right? That's what Sam wants to call it. It was an informal discussion because a debate is where both parties know who the debaters are, what their background knowledge is, are they capable of discussing that topic or not. You have time limits, you have a moderator, you have question and answer, you have crossfire, you have opening statements. We had none of these things. And I realize now that Sam had those 20 people turn up, likely because it was a Patreon like special for him or something. So he probably got donation money off of it, and now he needs to falsely market it as a debate. Well, if it's a debate, honey bunches of oats, maybe you should come and set up, this is the format, this is the topic, this is the moderator, we'll all be on camera, we'll live stream it, something to those effects, right? But I mean, of course, if that's a standard for debate, then you know what, Sam arguing with a dog would not make a difference. That also is an intellectual debate for him. As long as he barks and bites, that's all that matters to him, it seems.
It was a gate crash, wasn't it, Jaz?
And let me congratulate Brother Zakir Hussain, because actually, I'll say this right now, no Muslim that I've spoken to, and in fact, many Christians that I spoke to said to me, it was embarrassing for Sam to argue the way that he did. A lot of people didn't understand the purpose that William was there, because he added nothing to the conversation. He just seemed to like scream and shout belligerently. I understand why he had to do it, but at least you could have known, 6 lines don't give you like 50, 60 chapters of Justin Matter. Right. What was funny, I think he told the chat moderator, Brother Mukit, that he had what was it? He had the same book I quoted from on Justin Matter, right? And the problem is, if you had that book, then why did you dismiss the claim when I quoted from it what they said about the best manuscript of Justin Matter was? It seems strange, because in the moment he seems to, where did you get that from? You know the book. It's one of the only major publications of Justin Matter. You have it, but what? Yeah. But what? What happened to it? I will point out as well, any person that leaves insulting, threatening, or harassing comments, whether they be Muslim, Christian, Jew, atheist, agnostic, human, or Shamoun, or whatever the case may be, I will delete that comments, because we don't allow that kind of language on my page. You can do so on his page if that's what you like, but you know what? We are a family-friendly, emphasis here, family-friendly, right, Hassamo? Family-friendly atmosphere. We need to be fair and we need to be consistent. Okay, guys? Yeah. So do we have any more questions, or is that it, brothers and sisters? Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, did no Christian want to come in? Like,
Have we sent the link out?
We sent the link out. We asked.
So
And Brother Mukit has just posted the name of the book, Justin, Philosopher and Martyr, Apologies by the Dominican Friar, Dr. Dennis Mins. Thank you, Brother Mukit. King Servant asked, will you debate J. Smith? Already accepted his challenge. He pulled out of the last debate, but I'm still willing to accept any challenge to debate the topic, the textual criticism of the Bible and the Quran, right? We compare them, see what happens when it comes to textual criticism. That is a debate they will always lose. And for some reason, I'm getting a phone call. Maybe
and also it does notice how they were gate crashing us as well. Like, we wasn't even aware. 20, 30 of them just come in and that's it. Shamoun just wants to take over the lead. Foul mouth. William is backing him up. It was unfair, and you were being, and you're being polite, and you can see from the video you had one, middle pace. That's it. And then they were just over talking, fighting. An hour just went on that. What was the point?
Like, I don't understand why they had to scream and shout. Willy said it, he gave me 2 reasons. One, he said he was naturally loud. And 2, he said he was on a speakerphone. But I said to him, didn't I say in the discussion, can you guys like take it on just a little bit because you're screaming at me? And Willy proceeded to scream even more. I don't know if it's because he knows that we uploaded the video with Bat Uman humiliating him, or if check out our YouTube channel. What is it called again, Brother Mustafa? The Dawa Collective. The Dawa Collective. We will post a link in the description of this video, inshallah.
You watch William get humiliated by Dr. Ehrman, literally.
He got demolished in his recent dialogue with Dr. Shibir Ali. Dr. Ali is a very polite man. I know that Willy wouldn't dare scream and shout at him because, well, Willy knows that he needs to, sit in his place. And hopefully now he knows that even more, right? So, Willy, you got to get your temper under control, my friend. Violence, anger, hatred, can't have that in your heart, right, my friend? Anything else, brothers? I don't see any further questions in the chat. Shall we wrap up the stream then? Yeah, inshallah. Oh, so Brother Mukit has posted the link to the Dawah Collective in the chat. Alhamdulillah. Brothers and sisters, please subscribe to it. Our discussions, if we agree to record them, I always ask my guests on the Zoom room, do you want me to record? If they say no, the answer is no. If they say yes, then we do record, but with their explicit permission. We're not Christians gate crashing in Zoom room. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that 5 hour 43-minute video on Sam's channel. Just in the Christian, just let me know when he uploads it. And what's interesting is I want to point out one more thing. We'll wrap up very shortly. We'll wrap up very shortly. A lot of Christians, I realized, did not watch those 4 hours because those that came to me and said, look, Ijaz, this is what you said and you were wrong. And I'm like, okay, give me the timestamp and quote it. And I'm not joking. I had about between 18 to 23 Christians do this over the last night, especially on Twitter and on, YouTube. And I think 2 on Facebook. I had them give me the timestamp, read my quotes out to me, the words I said, and then, okay, fine, you didn't say that in those words, but it could be, I'm like, no, it's not even a similar idea. This is what I meant. These were my words. I know what my words mean. And then they just renege. They're like, okay, fine. We understand. No, you didn't say that. So most of them, either they didn't watch all of it, so they don't know what my argument was, or 2, if they did listen to it, they didn't pay attention. And that tells you the kind of quality of people that come from that section of the community. Okay. All right. So let me see. Brother Mukit, you are the chat moderator. Sentinel Apologetics wants to come in. If you want to continue the stream, Brother Mukit, I'm going to put the ball on your shoulders. If we can go for like 10 more minutes, I can interact with Sentinel. It's all right, he's up for it. So please share the link with Sentinel. And brothers, we only want the Christians. Only want the Christian. We've chosen he's selected himself. If I say chosen, they're going to say I planted the guy there. I know how deceptive that they can be. So please, Sentinel, I don't know who is Sentinel Apologetics. I don't know who that is.
No idea.
I'm hoping it's Hassamo. I'm hoping it's Hassamo or Willy, but Willy's probably crying somewhere right now.
I'm hoping he's read the books that the Bibles that Faisal has. All of them, the 30, I think. How many have you got, Faisal?
I've got about 10 here at the present moment. I'm still counting.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at the Zoom room thing. It's called Zoom room. I don't know what you call it. I'm waiting for Sentinel to come in. A reminder, Sentinel. I'm saying this publicly so everyone knows. You insult, you curse, you threaten, you get booted. Family friendly, like I said.
This is anyway.
And we're only going to
live
go on
stream.
for like
Everyone's
10
watching,
minutes.
so yeah.
Well, knowing the Christian, you might probably come on and intentionally curse or intentionally say something lewd before he comes on. So let me just change the settings here pretty quickly. Just give me one sec. Hold on. Let me just give me one. I hope that he's the only Christian that we gave it to. Okay, continue. Okay, so I'm going to allow him in, and let's see that here. Okay, so Mustafa, just if you put anything lewd on the camera, okay, good. Thank God it's a human face, because if it was anything else, I would have had to boot you. So I'm gonna unmute you. Did you just give me a thumbs up if you heard the room rules? No cursing, no abuse, no insults. Okay, good. And can you confirm that you're a Christian with a thumbs up? Are you a Christian? Are you Sentinel Apologetics? Okay, I'll unmute you. Okay, we got like a guy called Bob. I don't know if that's the other Bob. but he should let our chat moderator know. Okay, didn't I
Okay, look,
unmute
that's
him?
Ariel here.
Let
Ariel,
me
our
see.
Ariel who was.
Let me unmute. I think I unmuted. Mustafa, do you want to unmute? No, he's unmuted. He's unmuted.
Hold on.
Robert, can you speak?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yep,
Yes.
I can hear you. Most definitely.
Yeah, I was watching that debate in piecemeal. I didn't really watch it all in one go.
The debate,
But I'm still sort of
informal
confused.
discussion.
Okay, informal discussion.
Yeah.
But I'm still confused about the discussion about the Greek of Justin Martyr in light of the angel of the Lord. Like, are you suggesting that Justin Martyr's texts are not extant?
So here's what I'm saying, okay? It again goes back to the argument of first principle. So if the argument is we can trust the text of the early church fathers, what of it can we actually verify and how do we know how it was transmitted? So in my case, when scholars analyze a text, you will accept, I don't know if you accept this or not, but there have been changes in traditions. And so as texts have come down to us, we have to look at them. So for example, in the New Testament, for example, one of the reasons that they don't use as a primary determinant factor of a variant unit, the writings of the church fathers is because they themselves have been paraphrased, their conjectural emendations. So my point simply was, I was not denying that it is not within the corpus of Justin Martyr. No one denies that. But my point was, okay, what is the earliest manuscript of it that you have? And what is the most reliable one? And what does the words in that one say? Are there any notable variants? Because I like textual criticism, that is almost a necessary comment I ask for any work, even of Islamic works. As you know, we do the same thing for the hadith of Imam Bukhari, rahimahullah, may Allah be pleased with him. We do the same thing for copies of the Quran, the manuscripts as well. So it's just the first argument from first principle. Does that answer? Do you understand now where I was coming from?
Yeah. So, for example, in I have here. I mean, I have his works. I have the entire Ante-Nicene and Post-Nicene Church Father corpus, and in Dialogue with Trifo 83, what Justin Martyr says over here, you have later church fathers, and that we have their text dating way back as well. They interact with Justin Martyr, which means this is why scholars like Bart Ehrman they safely date Justin Martyr to the 160s AD, what he writes. So for example, so Dialogue with Trifo, he connects the angel of the Lord, because I did a keyword search with the angel of the Lord, specifically with the angel that kills 185,000 in the Assyrian camp. And then he connects that with the Lord that sits at the right hand of Yahweh in Psalm 110.
Can you do me a favor and read from chapter 56 for me?
In Justin Martyr's Dialogue with Trifo?
Yes, chapter 56.
All right, one sec. So this is 83, by the way. So, okay, so 56 will be God who appeared to Moses is distinguished from God the Father?
Yes. It should be the I think it's 1, 2, 3. The third paragraph, if I'm not mistaken, where he speaks of another God. Could you perhaps read that sentence for me, or that line, whatever you want to read from it? But if you could get that quote in whatever context you want to add to it, no problem.
Oh no, I'll just quote him directly.
Okay.
And then what I'll do is I'll also quote.
Like context, that's like you read a sentence before and after. That's what I meant.
Oh, sure,
you read the surrounding context.
I don't know specifically where you're wanting me to look. So what I'll do is I'll read the first chunk. So it says, Moses, then the blessed and faithful servant of God, declares that he who appeared to Abraham under the oak in Mamre as God, sent with the two angels, is his company to judge Sodom by another. He capitalizes another, the A there. Who remains ever in the super celestial places, invisible to all men, holding personal intercourse with none, whom we believe to be maker and father of all things.
So it's further down. It's like 5 lines down, I think. You will clearly see another God.
Abraham's got up early in the morning to place where he stood before the Lord. He looked towards Sodom and Gomorrah. And well, okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, and they said they had understood them, but that the passages adduced brought forward no proof that there is any other God or Lord, or that the Holy Spirit says so beside the maker of all things.
Next line. Yeah.
Then,
good.
okay. Then I replied, I shall attempt to persuade you, since you have understood the scriptures, of the truth of what I say. That is, that there is, and that there is said to be another God and Lord subject to the maker of all things, who is also called an angel, because he announces to men whatsoever the maker of all things, above whom there is no other God, wishes to announce to them. He's quoting, and quoting once more the previous passage, asked Trypho, do you think that God appeared to Abraham? And on he goes.
So, I wanted, what's his name, William, to read that out for me, because one of the questions I asked Sam is, do you consider the angel of the Lord to be Jesus? And if he is Jesus, did you consider him to be a second Yahweh? Because he references, I think, Genesis chapter 19, is it 19, where Yahweh sends down fire from Yahweh or something like that, right?
Yep,
so the
19,
question
24.
was, most Christians, and I don't know if are you a Trinitarian Christian?
I'm a Trinitarian, yeah.
Okay, would you accept that there is another God beside Yahweh?
That, you see, that terminology, it's, if you go into Second Temple literature, you have like the greater Yahweh, lesser Yahweh, the two powers of heaven. Jewish scholars like Benjamin Sommer, the bodies of God, he'll bring that out, that it's a very Jewish, sort of a mix of Jewish Christian lingo.
But the question is, I mean, you consider him to be a second person in the Godhead. You don't consider him to be a second God, right? Another God.
So it's not so very carefully, they wouldn't say it's a ditheistic, God, so to speak. It's a binitarian. It's a 2-in-1 connection.
See, that's the way that the Christian would interpret it. But taking what Justin Martyr says at face value here, does he say another God?
He's saying it in the negative here. So he's saying that I shall attempt to persuade you, since you have understood the scriptures, of what I say, that there is, and that there is said to be, another God and Lord, subject to, and literally in the Greek, there's a footnote here that says, besides the maker of all things, who is also called an angel, because he announces to men whatsoever. And then he, when he says above whom there is no other God, he's then referencing the besides me language. There's no other God besides me, which again, in the Second Temple corpus, the besides me language is talking about compatibility and equality. So like basically there's no other entity that's equal to my ontology.
Not equal, but below him. Right, he says subject to, below him, yeah? Subject to the maker of all things. That's what the text says, yeah?
But it's not below him though.
Subject, what does being subject to someone else mean?
So the Greek here is besides, which is the Greek word for subject to, which is a translation by, don't forget, Philip Schaff in the 1800s. So in the Greek, it's literally besides, in the sense that it's the same Septuagint word used in the Isaiah passages when
is it
Yahweh
para?
says...
What is the word used in Greek? Just remind me of it.
Let me bring it up.
And if possible, there should be another sentence where he says brought into being. The very next sentence should be the maker of all things brought him into being. By the way, Robert, I have to say your kind tone is very much appreciated. No one screaming into my ears tonight. Well, it's still midday for me.
So the maker of all things, above whom there is no other God. You see that what I'm saying is that he's quoting directly from those Old Testament passages that speak about no comparison. It doesn't mean that the other gods don't exist. So you have this henotheistic language in that Second Temple period.
I just need you to read the two sentences and then let's make a determination. Yeah, he says a statement that he brought him into being. The maker of all things brought him, that is the another God, into being. It should be like right below that.
No, there's no other. there's no mention of him being brought into being.
Okay, let me put it up on the phone.
It literally is that there is another God and Lord besides the maker of all things, who is called an angel, because he announces to men whatsoever the maker of all things, above whom there is no other God, which is to announce to them.
Okay, give me a sec. I'll pull it up on my phone. Okay. Here we go. So I'm reading from my slide in the English. I took it from newadvent.org. This is chapter 56. And why is it? Subject to the maker of all things, where it's called an angel because he announces to men whatsoever the maker of all things, above whom there is no other God, whence announced to them. And it's blurry. Pretty sure he says brought into being. I just can't seem to find it now. Where did I get brought into being from? That's the question now. Where did I put that? Can you bear with me 1 minute, Robert? I'll go to my file itself. Good media. I sent it to, here we go. Should be the last 2 slides. Okay, let's see here. What's supposed to? God appeared to him in a vision. Then there's a scripture called man, destroy Sodom, 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 Sodom. Okay, it's the previous one. Persuade you. And yeah, you're right. I actually don't see brought into being. In fact, I don't seem to see it here. Where did I get that from? I wonder if that's from the Dennis Min's book, probably. Okay, so I will take what you said on face value. Thank you for that information, Robert. Wait, where's Robert? Oh, what did you guys? Oh, hold on. Why can't you speak?
Yeah, sorry, I had to quickly mute, and then it didn't allow me to unmute.
Okay.
If you keep the thing is, if you keep reading down, like he gets into the Sodom and Gomorrah situation. He's quoting Psalm 110. So it is not on this ground solely I said that it must be absolutely that some other one is called Lord by the Holy Spirit. So he's using Trinitarian language like Holy Spirit, the Father. Then he mentions Christ. And then he gets into Sodom, speaking about the three. But that one particular being whom Abraham saw is the angel. So yeah,
I don't discount that that's part of the text, though.
Yeah.
I mean, towards the end of the discussion. One second, Robert.
Okay, sorry.
Right? So towards the end of the discussion, do you recall me saying to William, I do not discount that it is not within the text of Justin Martyr? And he says, yes. And I said, well, do you understand what the question I asked was? And he said he didn't understand what I asked. And I said, well, I wanted to see if there were any variants to it because he claimed to have a critical text before him. Does that seem clear to you? Do you recall that towards the end?
You see, this is why I'm asking the question, because even I was completely lost in that whole discussion.
Why were you lost, if you don't mind me asking?
In the sense that I was confused as to what you were trying to get at with Justin Martyr. And then when they mentioned for you to read the Greek and that there's no corruption in Justin Martyr's text, and I'm thinking, hang on a second, what? Like, so that's why I was asking you in the chat.
Okay.
And then how does this connect? How does this connect with the angel of the Lord as well?
Okay, I didn't understand your question in the chat. That's why I said if you could clarify for me. So do you understand now why I asked what I asked?
Yeah, but so are you saying that Justin Martyr is saying that this angel, that he uses the word another, and hence Justin Martyr's thinking of this of God and the angel as two distinct gods?
He does say distinct at some point. Who is distinct? He does not say in being, but the language he uses, I think the word is etero, if I'm not mistaken, another god. If I'm not mistaken, doesn't he say that? And so, like, you as a Christian, you would not say another God, you would say another person in the Godhead. And so you would say, like, for example, if Muslims say that the Christians believed in 3 gods, you would say, well, we don't actually believe that. But if I went along with what Justin Martyr said, you could say, well, that's fine within the Second Temple period to use such language. Wouldn't you agree or disagree?
Well, near the end of 56, so this is starting with this is literally near the end, when he says, and after another pause I added, quote, and now have you not perceived, my friends, that one of the three, who is both God and Lord, and ministers to him, so the other Yahweh, who is in the heavens, is Lord of the two angels. For when the angels proceeded to Sodom, he remained behind and communed with Abraham in the words recorded by Moses. And then he gets into the Lord rained down upon Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord.
How does that answer the question?
So what I'm getting at is, here he's clearly saying that this God and Lord is the one that the text is mentioning, that the Lord rained down sulfur from the Lord, and he's connecting it to Psalm 110. And then later down, which is why I asked about chapter 83, because in chapter 83, he specifically connects, he continues the argument, he connects this angel with Jesus because he brings up Melchizedek. So where is Justin Martyr, my confusion is, where is Justin Martyr making the claim that Jesus, where he clearly is saying is the Lord of Sodom and Gomorrah, that is a distinct God from the Father? Whereas
when he says the term another God. Because then Dominican friar Dennis Mins, in his book, I think it's page 63, if I'm not mistaken, or 62, he says that this statement Justin understands is problematical for monotheism, if I'm not mistaken. And then he says, Justin, to his own satisfaction, reasons it out as monotheistic. I think those are the words. Father Dennis Mins. In fact, I can read a quote for you because I did send it to Willy. One sec, where did I send it? So I will read the direct quote for you, so you can get the overall context of the statement. See, I like context, it matters. So he says on page, I was right, page 62, towards the end of the page, the last 6 lines, he says, he is aware, however, that to speak of this rational power as another God, distinct from the Father who begets him, is problematical for the belief that God is one. Justin solves the difficulty to his own satisfaction by insisting that the other God, and if I'm not incorrect here, the Greek in brackets is Theos Etoros, and Lord, who is beside the maker of the universe, or this is where the statement came into being comes from, came into being by the will of the Father. And he references again, I think it's Justin Martyr, if I'm not mistaken, and he is referencing chapter 61, paragraph 1, and chapter 128, paragraph 4.
Okay, 61 and 128. So now just a quick comparison with the way Justin Martyr writes. In 56, about halfway, he says, using that vocabulary of the word another. So if therefore you assert that the Holy Spirit calls some other one God and Lord besides the Father of all things and his Christ, answer me, for I undertake to prove to you from the scriptures that he whom the scriptures calls Lord is not one of the 2 angels that went to Sodom, but he who was with them and is called God, that appeared to Abraham. So it seems, I don't know, this seems really, this argumentation, especially from that Catholic, seems really odd, because
I mean, I can share the book with you.
But I'm just by reading Justin Martyr's usage of Holy Spirit, saying that it's God and Lord, and because look, he says call some other. It's again, I don't get the feel of Justin Martyr speaking about like a tritheistic God by using that vocabulary.
See, I'm Muslim, I'm monotheistic, right? I mean, I'm not discounting that you believe that you're monotheist as well, but from my perspective, that kind of phraseology is plainly polytheistic to me. I can send you the book, God willing. The page is page 62. It's by
So
Dennis
are you
Mims.
saying, is it chapter 61 of Justin Martyr?
The reference he gives, so at the end of the sentence, he gives, he gives the reference for came into being by the will of the Father. His citation is footnote 40. And for footnote 40, I believe that when he uses the word D, he means dialogue, as in dialogue with Trifo. He gives two references, 61:1 and 128:4.
61:1,
And
that this coming into
128:4.
being.
Yes.
And
came into being.
128:4.
128:4, correct. I was thinking, where did I get that quote from?
Oh, okay. So over here it's speaking about the incarnation.
Is it?
Yeah.
What does it say about the incarnation? What does he say specifically?
The cross. It's speaking about the cross.
Okay, continue.
Wait, the 61 seems like an odd, because it's XCI, that's, or XC1, that's the 10. Let's see.
Okay, Rob, we can pick this up on Sunday, God willing, on the Zoom room, because this was technically a discussion to respond to some of the allegations made by our counterparts on the other side. But I've given you the reference, and you are definitely invited. You have a kind demeanor.
Okay.
Did you?
Sorry, I found the correct reference. 61
Okay.
is wisdom is begotten of the Father. Yeah.
Okay.
Feel free to join us on Sunday.
Okay, so Rob, again, thank you for being kind and personable. I think I know you from Facebook. If I'm not mistaken, I think I've seen you like once or twice before.
Okay, no worries. Keep
do you have any comments on the discussion, and will you be able to make it at any point over Zoom room?
You mean, is there another Zoom discussion happening now?
No, not now, but we will have one. If not tonight, we have one almost every night, and we invite Christians of all backgrounds to come and have a discussion with us. Where we sit down, we look through texts, and we spend, I'm not going to lie, 8 to 10 hours sometimes. So if you're willing and you seem personable, I would love to have you on, God willing. And if you need to stream it, you have our lesson. We would love to stream it as well. And we can look at these things in more detail, God willing. If you have any information you think that I need to know, like to correct myself, if I've made an error in that video, any other video, please let me know. I'm willing to always make corrections. So, yeah. Right, so
I'm fine with that. Yeah. Now you sort of know my YouTube channel, Sentinel, and all that, so it's all good.
No problem. All right, thank you, Robert, and thank you for coming on. And,
no worries, thank you.
Right, have a good day. Bye-bye.
Yep.
And okay, guys, we're gonna wrap up the stream unless we have any other comments. Mustafa, you got any last comments? Faz, any of you? Because I know Mukid is gonna.
No, I think we've addressed all the points. Yeah. I think we've addressed all the main points.
Okay, let me just check the chat, because in this discussion, we didn't check the chat to see if anyone had any last comments. Okay, let me see. Okay, let us see. And they are insulting in the chat. Mukid, my friend, I'm going to have to ask you, you know what to do. Okay, all right, guys, thank you for coming out. Thank you for having us on. And we will see you next time, God willing. Assalamu alaikum, and we will see you in the next Zoom session, I think. How do I...